You notice it here. After amoeba, the second example of binary fission is paramecium. Yes or no? So now if you observe here, this is what the hair-like structure which is present. This is what basically the structure of paramecium. So now this hair-like structure which is present surrounding means completely covered by the paramecium. This is what we used to call as what? We used to call as cilia. Yes or no? So now if you see here, this paramecium also reproduced by the method of what? By the method of binary fission only. Understand? I will show you the pictures of how this paramecium is separating into two new organisms by using binary fission. So here also the same thing. If you take a newly or fully grown paramecium, then their body divides into two parts by forming a two small or baby paramecium cells. So here also the same thing, the division of nucleus. Understand, the nucleus further it will be stretched, later it will be separating into two halves. Then what will happen, guys? The cytoplasm is separating into two parts, and finally they will form two new baby cells of paramecium, daughter cells of paramecium. Like amoeba, same thing will happen. Like if you take the next one, this one, Leishmania is also a unicellular animal. It is a protozoan family. So this is also the same thing. Actually, it is a parasite which will causes disease known as Kala Azar, black fever. You may be heard. In our local language, we can say Telugu. We can say Kondajaram, but I don't know in Tamil what we can say. Black fever we can say. So this is what is to cause by this this one unicellular animal which is called as a protozoan Leishmania. What is the name of this one? Leishmania. Understand? So this is actually what? Unicellular what? It is a unicellular animal which will causes a black fever. Also we can call it as Kala Azar. Please remember Kala Azar. Okay. So now this Kala Azar is also known as, we used to call it as, understand, because it is causing by Leishmania, so that it is called as Leishmaniasis. What we used to call this one? A black fever. Also we used to call it as Leishmaniasis. Leishmaniasis. Okay. So now if you observe very carefully here, this Leishmania, you can see here, it is looks like a leaf structure. Have you noticed it, guys? It is looks like a similar to the leaf. Yes or no? So now this Leishmania animal, if you take unicellular animal, it has a greater degree of organization in its body. So it is having a whip-like structure called as flagellum. Have you seen it here? Like a thread-like structure. It's like a tail, we can say. This is what we can say, flagellum, we can say. This is the most important one in the case of this Leishmania unicellular organism. So what will happen here means this Leishmania reproduced by the process of binary fission only. So how means the splitting of this parent cell, whatever you are considering this parent cell, again the same thing. Middle, are you able to see this is what? What we used to call this one, guys? Anybody can say? What is that?
Sir, nucleus.
Yes, that is what we used to call as nucleus. But here you can see they will, here how the fission will take place means, observe very carefully. So how you are expecting, vertically or longitudinal way or portrait way? Anybody can say, like horizontal or vertical? Yes?
Vertical.
No.
Vertical.
So it will take place, that is what I said, based upon the flagellum, understanding. So this binary fission will take place according to this flagellum. It will be split into what? Two equal parts. This is what we used to call as longitudinally. Understand, guys? So based on the flagellum, based upon the flagellum only, it will be splitting into two equal parts. That is what I am saying. So according to this flagellum, the binary fission of this What is this? Leishmania animal which will be splitting into two equal parts. That is what I said. The flagellum is the most important in the case of formation of new organisms. So they will form according to this flagellum at this end. It will splitting into new two flagellum. Then later it will be grown into a new individual cells. That is what how this Leishmania will be developing into new organisms. But if you'll see here, the Leishmania differs from amoeba in case of fission, because in amoeba and all, how it is happening, nucleus is splitting into like this, but here the nucleus is broken down into longitudinal way. Understand? Here also, if you take Paramecium also, it has been developed into half, like exactly nucleus will be stretching into two equal parts and they will be breaking into two new cells. But here, based upon the flagellum, this Leishmania is going to splitting into new. So that is why it is a longitudinal way. It is different from the amoeba, we can say. So now you can see here, the simple, this is how the binary fission will take place in Leishmania. So even YouTube videos also, animated videos also there, how this Paramecium and as well as Leishmania and amoeba fissions will take place. That is, I will send you the links, you people can watch it also if you need. So if you'll observe here, amoeba can take place. Why it is different from amoeba means, I am saying, amoeba can split up into any plane, in the sense of, sir, only it can split up into like this or like this or like this. We cannot say, because amoeba is shapeless. It does not have any kind of shape. So amoeba can take place the binary fission in any manner. Nucleus can split up into like these two parts, or else like these two parts, or else like these two parts. Anywhere the nucleus is lengthens and it can form the new organisms. But here, what will happen in Leishmania? Leishmania always binary fission will take place. What, guys? It will take place with respect to understanding flagellum. So the flagellum at its ends, here only the binary fission, across its flagellum only the binary fission will take place. That is why it is different from the amoeba. That is what you have to understand. Have you understand, guys? Yes. So that is why we can say flagellum, this Leishmania, the binary fission is different from amoeba, we can say. So like this, these are the examples of simple animals like amoeba, Paramecium and Leishmania. They will produce by binary fission. So if we take microorganisms, not only this one, if we take microorganisms like bacteria, they will also produce what? Most of the bacteria, they also will reproduce by the method of binary fission only. So now if we take here, this is what we used to call as binary fission. So now, sir, why we used to call these kind of formation of new organisms is called as binary fission means, remember, these binary fission means a binary. What do you mean by bi, guys? What is the meaning of bi? Bi means what? Two, and as well as understanding fission. What do you mean by fission? Already I taught you. What do you mean by fission? Fission in the sense of splitting or breaking into two organisms. That is what it is called as binary fission. As usually we know that fission means what? Breaking down. Understand, one single parent will be breaking down into new equal halves. That is what we used to call as fission. So now it is happening two equal parts. That is why it is called as what? It is called as binary fission. So binary fission means, simple definition I can write. So what is the simple definition of binary fission? Splitting into two equal. Understand? Splitting into two parts. That is what we used to call as the meaning of binary fission. Understand, Padmavashini? Prasini? So this is what you have to understand. So if you'll see, even I will show you the pictures of this, if you'll observe with the microscope, because these are very extremely smaller organisms, unicellular organisms. So we cannot observe with our naked eye. So if you want to see the binary fission in amoeba and as well as Paramecium and as well as this Leishmania unicellular animal, so we have to see with what? Under microscope. So then we can see how the binary fission is taking place. So as we know, somebody can tell me where this amoeba and the unicellular, this all Paramecium are living, guys. Can anybody say where they are living?
Sir, water.
Water. Very good. So they are living in where, guys? They are living in water. That is what we people know. Yes or no? So now how to see? Suppose they will ask you to see the binary fission of amoeba or paramecium. Then what you people need to do means we have to collect some water from a pond. Understand everybody? So we have to take some water from where, guys? From pond or any kind of stagnant water bodies you can take, and especially where the weeds have a husk or any kind of things are dumped, like plants husk or something which is dumped inside the water body, then that water you can collect it. Now definitely inside that water we can see this amoeba and all. Understand? So now put a few drops of this water under the pond water on a clean slide and observe it on the microscope. So as we know, microscope we are having a lens here. Is it yes or no? From here we will see. So here we are having a one kind of lens, and they will provide you glass. Recently you visited biology lab also. They will provide you one kind of a glass plate. Have you noticed it? Yes, glass slide. So now few drops of this pond water, you have to keep it in this glass slide and observe first under with a low magnification, and then it will go with the high magnification lenses. So we have a three kinds of lenses for the same microscope. I think Sambuza taught you how to teach microscope also. Is it yes, guys? So you can observe that. So each by using low magnification and high magnification, you people can observe slowly. Then you can see how this amoeba and paramecium, they're dividing or reproducing by the method of binary fission. So slowly, anywhere, if you take amoeba, whatever the different kind of amoeba will be present. So now this amoeba, we can notice it will slowly with the help of low to high magnification, how this nucleus is stretching and how this amoeba is going to splitting into two new individual amoebas. That is what we can see in the microscope. It is not going to take much time. Very fastly it is going to take place. That is why we can see in a very less period of time. So, but you can see here this binary fission in amoeba, very like this first one cell will form into two cells. Then these two cells again they will fastly grown by eating something, by taking food and all. Again these cells will be separating into what? Again individually they are separating into two new more cells. I understand every time this fission is continuously taking place. That is why we can say amoeba, it is what kind of fission it is? A binary fission is carried out every time. So each and individual daughter cell, again it will grown well matured, and it will be forming further new more two daughter cells. That is what we used to call as binary fission. So this is all about the binary fission and the examples. So what is the examples of binary fission, guys? Binary fission means what? One parent organism.
Amoeba, Paramecium, Leishmania.
New organism. So the examples of binary fission is what? The first one is amoeba. The second one is paramecium. And third one is Leishmania, unicellular animal, and so many microorganisms of like bacteria. All will go under the binary fission only. But here, the binary fission in amoeba will take place in any kind of plane. There is no particular manner like a longitudinal way or horizontally or vertically or something. But in paramecium, you can see paramecium having fixed shape, yes or no? Yes. So paramecium is having fixed shape. It will be across, understanding this cilias is the major thing in this paramecium. So nucleus is going to splitting into two equal parts and it will form two new parameciums. But in Leishmania alone, the binary fission will take place with respect to what? With respect to flagellum at its ends. That is what the major things. So flagellum is the main thing in the case of a binary fission in Leishmania unicellular organism. That is what you have to remember. So please, all of you write binary fission. What is the definition you written? Binary fission? You have written anything? Right. In binary,
Parent cell will split into only two organisms.
The parent organism in binary fission, the parent organism splits or divides to form two new organisms. Two new organisms. Two new organisms.
Sir, in binary fission, the parent organism split or
Splits or divides to form two new organisms. Two new organisms. Two new organisms. Two new organisms. Examples you can take Amoeba, Paramecium, and what? Leishmania. Okay, this is what you have to understand. So now let us see the microscopic pictures of this one. Then you can understand how it is happening, because drawing the pictures is not a matter, but microscopic pictures is only important. Have you seen, guys? This is what you can able to see here. This is what amoeba we can see. This is also amoeba one. Understand, everyone? So have you noticed it? It is splitting into two equal parts. Have you observed that? This is what we can say baby cells or daughter cells of amoeba we can say. So here everywhere you notice it. Have you seen it is in the further separation of here third stage cytoplasm is dividing. Have you noticed it, guys? This is the general diagram. Everybody can draw, but this is what the microscopic pictures of this one. So here you can see first nucleus is further. This is the original picture of this one. You can see how this nucleus is separating and later cytoplasm is separating, and they are separating into two new individual cells. This is what we can say a binary fission in amoeba. Same way you can take binary fission in Paramecium. You can see binary fission in Paramecium. What will happen? You can see. So binary fission in Paramecium, you can see like this, a Paramecium separating into two individual new daughter cells of Paramecium. Have you seen, guys? Yes? This is what it is. So here what will happen? As I said, so the nucleus is going to splitting into two equal parts, half. Have you noticed it? Please respond. This is what will happen. Here you can see this picture, you can see Paramecium, how the nucleus is going to splitting into here. So two equal parts it will be taking place. So it is a fixed shape. Always this one will develop into new cell and this one is developing into new cell. But if you observe a Paramecium in Leishmania, so it will take place across the what? Across the flagellum only it will take place. Have you noticed it, guys? This is the exact picture of this one. So you can see here, middle it will keep on going. Flagellum, across the flagellum it will take place. This is what we used to call as longitudinal binary fission. What we used to call? Longitudinal binary fission. Is it okay, guys? So it will take place across the, with respect to flagellum only. Always the binary fission will take place in this. That is what it is. We can say it is different from. It is different from what, guys? It is different from amoeba. Have you noticed it, Arvind? Can you able to see, guys, here? This is what the flagellum. This thread-like structure is only called as flagellum. Yes or no, guys? Yes. Now you can see this flagellum is going to splitting into two. You can see, notice it here. So then finally it will turns into two flagellums slowly. Now after once the flagellums is splitting into two, then only the binary fission is taking place across this here. By the time nucleus and all will develop. So further they will be separating into two new flagellums. This is what we used to call as, what we used to call a binary fission in Leishmania, a longitudinal binary fission. This is what everybody should remember. These pictures is very important because usually we people won't study this pictures and all. That is what, if you want, you can draw these pictures also, how this is taking place. This picture you can observe more even clearly. You can see how this it is taking place. So first, what will happen? The flagellum, it will splitting into two. It will form a two separate flagellum. So by that time, nucleus is also developed into two individual parts, so that it will be taking place across through this. This is what it is happening. So in this picture, if you'll see, it is an example of all the three. You can notice it. So just a minute, I will erase it and I can show you. So you can see here, this is the picture. You can keep it for example of all the things, which will be, first one is what, guys? What is the first one? First one is example of amoeba. Second one is example of what? Irregular, you can take. This is third one is Paramecium. And third one, this one is Leishmania, but here they are saying euglena, they are saying. So, okay, this is a Leishmania. So, Leishmania, longitudinal fission, and this one, Paramecium, transverse fission. That is also how to remember. So, transverse, always exactly middle, exactly it will be splitting into two. That is what transverse fission we can say. And this is called as longitudinal fission. So, this is all about the binary fission and their separation. So 3 examples only I am saying. So the 3 examples with the structures, hope you all understand clearly. Any doubt in this? Yes? Please respond. So this is all about of our but a binary fission in a paramecium is a transverse binary. Transversely it will separate, and in Leishmania it will be longitudinal way. Longitudinally it will splitting it. But amoeba, there is no particular any plane. It can take place across the any plane from the left to right or right to left or horizontally or vertically. Any direction the binary fission will takes place. So this is all about it. Then the next class we are going to study the second type of binary, second type of fission. What is the second type of fission?
Multiple fission.
Multiple fission. So now multiple fission means nothing. So binary fission we are forming how many? 2 daughter cells. Now more than 2 daughter cells will takes place, means in the sense of many. So in place of binary we can form multiple or we can form many. Then that is called as, so one single parent is splitting into more than more than 2 daughter cells. Then that is what we used to call as, what we used to call multiple fission. So what do you mean by multiple fission? Means splitting into several. What is the meaning of this one? Splitting into several. That is what we used to call as multiple fission. So now this multiple fission we will discuss in the tomorrow's class. This is all. Now till here everybody have to remember 2 things mainly. Now one is Paramecium, transversely binary fission, and Leishmania longitudinally with respect to what is the word called as flagellum.
Flagellum.
F-R-E-L-L-U-M, flagellum, because that MCQs is more important. So with this I am going to stop. Then tomorrow we people will meet. So hope you all understand binary fission. Are you people clear with the binary fission? Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all of you. Bye. We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.